We're continuing our coverage on the deadly shooting at the Gilroy Garlic Festival. Here's what we know so far. 3 people were killed in the shooting last night. 19 people were hurt.
And Gilroy police confirmed the shooter has been identified as 19-year-old Santino William Legan. He was killed by police. There have been reports of a second suspect, but that has not been verified. So we want to go out to our Kurt Rivera live in Gilroy right now. Kurt, tell us exactly where you are and what you've been able to confirm.
Well, Chris, we're standing outside of the Legan home here on Churchill Hill Street in Gilroy, and I'll back away here. That is the house that you see behind me that the police searched through the night looking for any kind of evidence here. This is a pretty quiet neighborhood, neighbors say. Nothing like this, they said, they could even imagine. They also searched that car to the right in front of the house there. It's a dusty Nissan that looks like it hasn't been driven for quite some time. The FBI is also investigating this. They're looking for any kind of motive. No motive has been established for the shooting that has left 4 dead, including a 6-year-old little boy from Gilroy, a 13-year-old girl, a man in his 20s, plus the shooter. Now, the new total for people hurt, 19 hurt, 11 from gunshots. Gilroy police say Legan purchased his assault-style rifle back on July 9th legally in Nevada. That's because he apparently lived once in Nevada. He's also a graduate of Gilroy High School. Neighbor Elias Catrini is a retired Gilroy High School Spanish teacher. Let's listen.
Well, this is a very, very sad incident. It's something that you never think that it could happen in your neighborhood, especially down the street from where you live, where you feel safe, because that's the feeling I always had here, feeling safe. It's not that I don't feel safe anymore, but it just has made me more aware that I have to get to know my neighbors more, talk to them more, especially to their teenagers. I never had him as a student, but I knew him by walking by his house, and when he was a little boy, he would be riding his bike around here in front, this circle right here, making lots of rounds with his brothers, and also playing with his brothers in front of his house. Very calm, very nice boy, polite.
We're back here live. We arrived here in the neighborhood about an hour ago, and so far there's been no one home at the house behind me. One neighbor says the scene cleared around 7 or 8 this morning. We'll be here live all afternoon with updates for you. Live in Gilroy, Kurt Rivera, back to you.
Kurt, just have one quick question for you. You were there at the shooters, the suspected shooter's home. Have they been able to give us any idea of a motive here, why this 19-year-old would have done something like this?
Again, police are still looking for that motive. They don't have any idea, at least they're not publicly saying what the motive might be right now. The FBI is also assisting with any kind of motive, but at the moment we do not know why Legan opened fire at the Garlic Festival.
All right, thank you so much, Kurt.
And we got an update from Gilroy Police, the fire department, and the FBI about the suspect and the victims. Take a listen to some of that news conference.
As you know, yesterday afternoon, the city of Gilroy endured a tragedy that a very long night cannot erase. Mass gun violence is an epidemic in the United States, and yet one never imagined such a thing can happen here in our beautiful community.
The Gilroy Garlic Festival is an event that we put on every year, and we typically host between 80 and 100,000 people to our festival. It takes several thousand people a day volunteering to make this festival work.
We sent 4 engines, and for note, we only have 3 engines in the city of Gilroy, so we sent all of our resources as well as our South County neighbors.
I want to thank all of the agencies and all of the people that came to help. I don't even know how many people, but there was a lot. And when we put out the call for help, they came. I think any time a life is lost, it's a tragedy. But when it's young people, it's even worse. And it's very difficult. I don't know that I don't know what, if any, association there is. It seems that this was a random act, but again, we've got a long way to go before we can come to a determination what his motivation was.
to have seen this event end this way, this day, is just one of the most tragic and sad things that I've ever had to see.
So true. So here's how it all happened. It was day 3 of the Garlic Festival. The event is held at Gilroy at the Christmas Hill Park. Police say the gunman used a tool to cut through a fence to get inside the festival and bypass the security checkpoint. A band was just starting their last song of the night when shots rang out around 5:40 p.m.
Heard the truck in front of us get hit by bullets like 3 or 4 times, and then that's when my friend Gray was like, "Those are not fireworks, let's run," and then we just started running.
At the festival already, and they say they were able to take the shooter down in less than, listen to this, 1 minute. And now let's talk about the victims. One of them was a 6-year-old boy. We've learned today that his name is Stephen Romero. He had just celebrated his birthday last month. He was at the Garlic Festival with his family. His grandmother described him as a happy child. She also spoke briefly about the gunman.
It has to be someone really sick, because shooting a kid, and that's a family event.
A number of victims are still being treated as we speak. A hospital spokesperson tells us the patients are between 12 years old and 69 years old. One person has been discharged, Carly.
Yeah, and we just got word from the Santa Clara coroner. They confirmed that one of the victims is a 13-year-old girl. Her name is Kayla Salazar. We still don't have confirmation on the other victims.
So if you have never been, the Garlic Festival is a big event. Every year it draws anywhere between, as you heard there, 80 and 100,000 people. Members of the 10-man band who were just getting ready to play described to us what they saw when those shots rang out.
We're on stage, we're doing an encore at the Vineyard stage, and I heard a pop. And it didn't sound right to me, so I turned in the direction of the pop, and I saw a gentleman in a green top with a gray handkerchief kind of around his neck and what appeared to be an assault rifle. And
A rifle?
Well, I'm not a gun guy, so it looked like a rifle. It was bigger than a pistol, smaller than a hunting rifle, and he was slapping the magazine. Evidently it was jammed or something, I don't know. And then he started shooting again in the direction of where all the food people were dining. And I said, guys, off. And we cleared the stage at that point and ducked under the stage so we wouldn't be visible.
Did it seem like he had a target, or was he just doing this?
From my perspective, it looked like he was just firing into the biggest bunch of people he could find.
Scary
so
to hear.
Senseless.
Yeah, definitely. And the shooting in Gilroy is making national headlines. It's drawing reactions across the aisle.
We express our deepest sadness and sorrow for the families who lost a precious loved one in the horrific shooting last night in Gilroy, California. We thank the brave members of law enforcement. They never let us down.
Senator and presidential candidate Kamala Harris writes, "It's simply horrific." She says, "I'm grateful to the first responders." She goes on to say, "Our country has a gun violence epidemic that we cannot tolerate." And Governor Gavin Newsom also sent his support. "This is nothing short of horrific." California stands with the Gilroy community. Now, you can also head to abc10.com for raw interviews with witnesses and raw video from the scene. That's on our website, abc10.com/raw.
And to get a link sent straight to your phone where you can find all of the updates from this deadly shooting, just text the word Gilroy to 916-321-3310. This is a story we are going to be updating all day long. For more updates, stay with us on air and online at abc10.com. We'll see you live starting at 5 p.m.